Alright, what's going on YouTube? We got a brand new video. Now this video, probably the most important video I'm ever going to make on this channel. We're going to be talking about when the economy collapses, the new financial system. It's going to be backed by a digital dollar, which is then backed by gold. This dude named AMC Bigum's, very smart dude. We're going to watch this video about him explaining it, give our feedback on it, and just pretty much explain what I think is the best possible moves you could be making right now before all this happens. Because the new financial system is very, very close. It's very close to, being implemented. So we're going to watch this. Here we go.
Because they just say, you can't afford it. We just don't think that you're able to do it. But you're allowed to rent for $1,200. Why? Because they don't want you to own things. It makes you less dependent on the world, the government, them. It makes it so you can get out of their little web. So like I said, this credit score is a complete joke. Now, we find out, do the bankers and all that need that? Did they go through this system? No. They just short stocks. That's all they do. And then they pay 0.006% borrow rate fee to 1% a year. And guess what? Those shorts, they have unlimited time to pay them off. They can pay them off whenever they want. Unlike our loans, which have term limits, which, what's this do? Makes it so it's no longer a financial burden for them. And on top of that, instead of paying it off when, like we have to pay into the system, they can pay it off when they make money. So they can just basically pull money out of thin air. And how do they do that? They pretty much steal it from retail. They short a stock.
So what he's saying is pretty much what a lot of banks and hedge funds do is they short a stock. For example, they could target something like AMC, be like, oh, movie theaters going out of business, COVID messing up, AMC, create a bunch of FUD, get all these news outlets to project it, then they short it with like billions of dollars, and then boom, they get a free billions of dollars, and, they got to pay no interest on it, and, then their own credit score goes up a shit ton, because it was a good investment, right? So, to do that, it's pretty insane how they could just do that in the stock market. The stock market's completely rigged. I know I only talk about crypto on this channel, but this is going to kind of tie into where I believe the stock market is going to move to the crypto market. They're going to do a big flip, all right? And I think they're going to do a big flip because the stock market cannot sustain itself, okay? We're going to keep watching, but that's just my two takes on what he said so far.
They attack a company, they manipulate the stock, then they bash it with the media, and then they legally steal from everyone who panic sold. They don't need a loan. It doesn't lower their credit score. And now, guess what? Their credit score goes up exponentially because they have more assets and more money. So they have this specific cheat way for the rich. Meanwhile, here you go, pay into our system. Well, here's the other problem. In the United States, you have $2.3 trillion in circulation. I showed you guys the top 100 have $4.5 trillion. They have more than all of us. So you have, this is your poor class, here's your middle class, and here's your rich. Well, guess what? That rich, that little small one, has more than the other two combined times two. Like I said.
So pretty much what he said right here is of this 2.3 trillion in circulation, this big bar right here is of pretty much people like living paycheck to paycheck that are like pretty much poor. This bar is, I guess, the middle class, and then this is like the rich, and then the rich, what they end up having. And also, here's a better chart. Like, you see this 22%? This is like how much money pretty much that the middle class actually has. And then here's how much money the poor class has. And then this is the 76% right here. This is how much like rich. This is how much capital they have, right? So, when he's saying, it's about 2.5 times greater, it's just crazy to think about how, the rich people, they're so small, but they're hoarding all this capital, right? But that's how the system has to be created, right? If there's no system, there's no society, okay? So it's kind of like a dual-edged sword, right? Say everyone overthrows the government. They're like, oh, they're taxing us too much, which is, what happened already with the Great American Revolution. I think we're getting treated worse now with just how fucking stupid these banks are being. And it's a double-edged sword to where we have no system, we have no society, right? Unless we get a new system, but obviously there's going to be a bunch of protests. If there's a new system implemented, it's not just going to be like, okay, here's a new system. All right, bye. There's going to be a lot of turmoil we got to go through. Okay, so it's a dual-edged sword. Now, this is very horrifying. He's going to talk about in a second how there's $40 trillion, in the world, right? And this is 2.3 trillion in circulation. Now, there's 650 trillion in the derivative markets, in bonds, and swaps, loans. And a swap is where, like, say I need to buy something, so I promise you, hey, I'll pay said amount on said day, right? Or you're pretty much promising to pay a payment which hasn't been paid yet. So it's kind of like almost a fake money like transaction, where it's like the money's not there yet, but it still is getting transacted into things, So it just shows you how much fake money is going on. 488 trillion in interest rate payments, right? And you can look this all up for yourself. All the numbers are out there for you to look at. I double checked what he was talking about. It's all accurate. So 488 trillion in interest rate payments. That is insane. When you add all this up, we're talking about 1 quadrillion, all right, of just money that's not even in the economy. We only have 2.3 trillion circulating, going around. And, they're able to do this because money's not backed by anything. It's backed by nothing. It's backed by the government. It's backed by thin air, all right? They could just go, yo, we need this shit. Let's get a bunch of fucking money, all right? Like, what? So if you had a system which is backed by gold, you just can't do that. You just can't go, hey, let's go print all this money. Because then where's the gold going to have to come from, You have a limited amount of gold, so you just can't be, going ape shit, going here, money there, money there. Oh, you want a loan? Money there, money there, So it's going to be a different system. It's all going to be digitized. There's going to be a digital US dollar. And then that digital US dollar is then going to be backed by gold. And I think it's going to run through networks, for example, like Quant, Hedera, I think those are going to become valuable because a lot of money that is backed by gold is going to flow through those systems, right? So I think those are really good investments to get into crypto now before, the digital CBDC dollars come in, right? And I was at the bank the other day. The lady said, yes, a lot of money I see through our bank. She says, I wonder where the money comes from. She told me that because I was kind of grilling my bank about it the other day. I was trying to get info, and I was just like, holy shit. Like, even the bankers, like, where's this money coming from? And I asked her, because you guys know how banks, they guarantee you $250,000. Okay? They guarantee you. Say the financial system literally takes a number 2, it just go... Then it's like, oh, well, all your money's gone. Sorry, we lost it. Because when you put your money in a bank, it says you get that money, but they actually take your money and they invest it and they do other shit with it, okay? It's kind of like, their capital at that point. And then they promise you set amount that you give them, So said they're like, hey, we're going to give you $250,000 if we fuck up pretty much. All right? It's like they're guaranteed money back. And not a lot of banks do this. Like, for example, like big major banks like Bank of America. I know that a lot of retirement funds, a lot of 401ks were lost in the 2008 crash. Just completely liquidated, gone. Oh, that retirement fund you spent your whole life for? Yeah, it's gone. All right. And this is going to be like 2008 on steroids, pretty much, is what he's talking about. So my whole thing is, which, no one could answer for me, but we're going to talk about, is if you were promised $250,000 from the old system, once we get this new system with a digital dollar backed by gold, are you still promised that $250,000 of the fake money system, which would now be in the digital backed by gold dollar system, the CBDC? They're like, hey, we're going to promise you $250,000 of money backed by nothing, our government, but will they promise you the $250,000 in the new financial system, which is backed by gold? So that's why I'm very scared to where I can't, I've asked banks about it. I've called like 20 different banks in the past couple of days, and they have all said no. We don't know. I don't know how to answer that. you know, a lot of them have just been like, dude, are you on bath salts? And I'm like, maybe. I don't know what's in my Frosted Flakes, okay? But, you know, no one can answer that because, you know, we're all still in this system, right? So it's just something to think about. You know, you may be guaranteed $250,000, but say they give you back the $250,000 of the fake system's money. Well, it's like buying nothing. You know, they're like, hey, we're going to give you back this system's money, but, you know, we can't give you the new system's money because that wasn't in the agreement. So buy what you can in the new system coming up is my advice to you. All right?
There's $40 trillion in the world. $650 trillion of that is in the derivatives market. 488 of that is in interest rate payments done through securitization. Like I said, they haven't changed. They've gotten 600 times worse. This is insane. And then we're all running on fiat currency, which is backed by governments, which are all in debt and which are all failing, which means all the dollars, all the currency.
Now, guys, that is so true. Okay, we're backed by fiat, which is backed by the government, and which is backed by institutions that are failing. All right, everything's in debt. Everything. We just get further and further in the debt. That is a failing system, guys. When the U.S. dollar was created in 19 whatever the fuck, it was made to fail. It really was. Okay, it was backed by the gold at some point, you know, which is fine. You back a dollar by gold, it's actually sustainable, right? The system, when it was designed, it could actually have worked. But because of stupidity and greed and just poor money management from these so-called financial experts, you know, these banks, which are, oh, we'll leave it to those guys who know what they're doing, all right? You could have Curious fucking George the monkey run it better than them, okay? Like, this is disgusting, all right? And no one knows what's happening because there's such a generational gap of who's educated about this shit. You think I learned this in high school? No, when I turned 18, I was like, I need to learn finance because I was like, if I save up money my whole life, I'm going to die at like, you know, say 70, 80, whatever the fuck. And then I'll probably retire at like 7 or 80, whatever the fuck. And then my whole life would just spent working, you know, running on a treadmill pretty much, getting nowhere, right? If you save money, you won't become rich, all right? You just won't. The system is set up to where if you save money, you will retire at way later in your life. So the only way, if you want to retire early, you got to do something different. You got to invest. You got to find the new thing. You got to, you know, innovate, create, and do better, right? If I just work my job I'm working at right now, say you're a waiter at a restaurant. All right, if you're a waiter at a restaurant, say you work, you save up money, you know, and you're like, okay, I'm going to put it in the 401k. I'm going to put it into this, right? You're setting yourself up to retire at like age 60, 55. That's if you're lucky, okay? That's if you're lucky. So it's like, I had an epiphany. I was like, do I want to retire at age 55? Or do I want to try to, you know, not do that? Have a better experience in life and try to find a way around this, you know, fuck system, right? So I think it was more of my hunger for seeing down that road and going, I don't want to do that, all right? And I was like, I need to learn about how this shit works. So ever since I've been 18, man, I've just been learning about this shit every single day, all right? And no one, you know, unless people take the time to learn about it, no one's going to teach you, all right? And because you're not taught this in school and no one knows what the fuck this is, all right? Like if I showed this on my screen to someone, they'd be like, dude, what am I looking at, all right? And honestly, when I first looked at this, I didn't know what I was looking at. But it's just kind of like, you know, how many people around you really understand this shit to a T? Like, not a lot of people, okay? And that's how I think they get away with this. The big banks and just the idiots that do this shit. They get away with it because no one understands what's going on. Like, obviously, there's a few people that understand, and they'll call them out for it. But if the masses don't know about this, how they're just fucking the system, nothing's going to change because no one knows what's going on, dude. Like, you know, you want to know how to get away with murder? Don't get caught. And guess what? You can't get caught if no one knows you're doing it. You know, it's literally right in front of our faces, and everyone's like, oh, Will Smith slapped Chris Rock. Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. So yeah, I think I'm going to end this video here. See, we might want to watch one more clip of him talking about, I guess, the digital dollar.
This money, certain stocks are going to skyrocket while the rest does plummet. You're going to see a hard stock crash.
So right now he's talking about the crash and what's going to happen. So pretty much right here, the derivatives market is going to crash, which would then cause the stock, housing, and bond market to crash, which would then lead to the reset. And then 2008 on steroids, and then everyone with land, gold, and silver is going to be well. And a lot of big banks right now, they're loading up on land, gold, and silver. Why are they loading up on land, gold, and silver? All of a sudden. Why are they just loading up on it now? Is there something I don't know about? Huh. It seems strange.
Well, guess what?
It'd be like a murderer, like going to buy duct tape and rope and scissors at Walmart. And then it's like, oh, there was a murder last night from, that guy at Walmart that was checking you out. You're like, oh, really? I had no idea. Well, what did he buy? Oh, he bought rope, duct tape, and scissors. Oh, yeah, he was probably trying to go kill someone. All right. So it's like all the signs are there. Yeah.
Already went over. The government has all these mortgage-backed securities again, so the housing market is going to crash again. Well, on top of that, you're going to have the bond market crash, which is a total crash. At this point, you're going to have nothing but a reset. It's going to be gold, silver, things go down. It's a very intelligent thing. It's just, like I said, we're going to talk about the MOAS for a second here. To have happen, like I said, you have no more choices because they're to happen and
sorry, I'm skipping a lot. I just want to get to the digital part.
People will say, okay, well, I got my share, and that's the dollar, which they've already talked about, or these CBDCs. Well, the digital dollar is going to have to go back to the gold standard. They have no choice because you guys can see no one can be trusted. Everything can be manipulated. Well, guess what? Banks are now restocking gold at the fastest pace in years because they want to be in control of their CBDCs and they have to have it backed by something. So they're going to have a backed digital dollar or a CBDC of some kind, and it's going to have to go back to the gold standard. Well, guess what? Adam Aaron just bought land, gold, and silver, just so you guys know. People talking about that.
Now, I don't understand why we left the gold standard. Why? Why'd we just go, you know what? I don't like the gold standard because I just can't create money, all right? Like, money backed by something? I just want money, I just want money to just abracadabra, That's what the plan was, I guess, when we got rid of the gold standard. I'm trying to think of what else to say. I know this. How long is this video running? Where are we at? Oh, 17 minutes, man. All right. I want to make it a little shorter. I know people's attention spans are low these days. But yeah, I'm going to leave this video in the description. It's AMC Bigums. Pretty much a lot of how he got his following is, the MOAS with GME and AMC. And if you guys are, just crypto guys on my channel, just know that AMC and GameStop, they're going to have a huge short squeeze. They are trapped. All right. It's going to be fucking crazy, dude. We got crazy shit coming up, dude. Crazy shit coming up.
Otherwise, what they can do is
and yeah, if all the banks are hoarding gold right now, it's because if they hoard all the gold in the world, then they still have all the power in the world, right? Like, if they have all the gold, then yeah, when the new financial system comes around, they're going to be fine. They're going to be like, okay, well, now we could just, still be the powerhouses of the world and control everything. So it's kind of like a lose-lose for the average citizen. But, if you know about it, you could get ahead. Invest in Quant and H-Bar. Not financial advice, but low-key, strongly financial opinion. Like, I can't stress this enough. Like, my whole life is invested in these two projects. So it's like, do with that information what you please. And yeah. So that, what, guys, that's it. I'm going to leave it there. If you guys have any questions, I will read them in the comments below. New topic video today. Also, I saw someone say, hey, how come you react to so many videos? Well, it's because, why would I just copy what this dude has said and talked about it, right? I was like, I'm going to just go to the video, show you guys what he said and, give you my two takes on it, right? I'm not just going to copy exactly what he made and call it my own. Like, that's just not the kind of person I am, right? I think learning from other people and forming your own opinion off of that is one of the smartest things you could do. Getting everyone's perspective, all right? So, there's my perspective on what he said. You could go check it out for yourself. Watch the whole video. I highly recommend watching this whole thing. This dude knows his shit. Yeah, it's going to be fucking crazy, guys. I love you. Stay up.